Now, clearly, there's one place you should not meditate, and that is while you're driving.
This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
So how do you meditate? Very simple. So I'm going to go through the Reader's Digest version, and many of you don't even know what that is because you've never heard of or read the Reader's Digest. I'm too old. I think every time I say something, I'm going, they don't even know what I'm talking about. This, right? Trade, you ever heard of the Reader's Digest? No, he's over there. He's shaking his head now. Oh, God help me. All right, so we have to now start doing education on some of my old analogies. Okay, so I'm going to give you a summary, a short version. That's what the Reader's Digest was, by the way. They had a big book, and the Reader's Digest version is they would take kind of excerpts of the book and crunch it down to about 1/3, so you could still kind of feel like you read the whole book without spending all that time. That was the Reader's Digest. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to give you a quick summary. And that's not the entire How to Meditate course, but I'll just give you a quick summary. All right, so number one, when do you meditate? The answer, any time. There is no right or wrong. So never make up an excuse. Oh, I missed my meditation time. No, you can meditate anytime. Is there a best time? Ideal scene? Yes. Ideal scene is in the morning before breakfast, after you wake up. So wake up, go to the bathroom, wash your face. That's probably a good time. It doesn't matter if you have some coffee or tea before or after, drink some water. Ideally, in the morning is a very good time. But remember, any time works. The second time that's very effective is late in the afternoon before dinner. This way you can reduce the stress. When you meditate in the morning, it energizes you, helps you focus, and produces a spectacular winning day for you. Would you like to have a winning day every day? I'd go to Vegas and they put me up in all these, mega mansions over there, 5,000, 10,000 square feet mansions with pools in the living room that you could fit 20 people in. I mean, a big swimming pool, grand pianos and, magnificent mansions. And they would put me up for free. And every day when the butlers would come and they would feed me and the chefs would come in and they would cook for me and so forth, they'd always leave. Everybody was trained to leave by saying, Mr. Trudeau, have a winning day. And I'd say, I have a winning day every day. Every day is a winning day. I remember I was talking to Zig Ziglar one time and he said, I wake up in the morning, Kevin, and I say, it's a great day. And I says, but is every day a great day, Zig? He goes, well, just try missing one of them. Like, yeah, it's a good day. I woke up. So anytime you can meditate, ideally in the morning before breakfast, ideally in the afternoon before dinner. If you meditate in the morning, it helps produce a winning great day. When you meditate in the afternoon before dinner, it reduces stress and gives you a beautiful evening with your family. Because many times we come back from work or after a long day and we're stressed out, and that kind of rubs off on our spouse, our family, our partner. It's just not good because we're dealing with all that pent-up stress and things that happened during the day. So when you come back at the end of the day and you meditate, it clears it all and it sets up a beautiful, wonderful, balanced, lovely energy between you and the people that you're living with. Friends, family, loved ones, dogs, cats, fish, pet snakes. Anything you have there, they'll love you more because your energy was all cleaned up. So that's when do you meditate. How often should you meditate? As often as you want. Once a week, once a day, 3 times a week, on occasion, it doesn't matter. Meditating in any amount at any time is better than not meditating. So it doesn't matter. It's like exercise. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you do it once a month. It's better than doing it 0 a month. Okay, what's the ideal? Ideal is twice a day, in the morning after you wake up, before breakfast, and in the afternoon before dinner. That's the ideal. But at the end of the day, realistically, you're going to do that 7 days a week. I mean, I've been doing this my whole life, since the 60s. I mean, but who's going to be doing that? So don't force yourself to be fanatical. Just do the best you can. That's the ideal. Every day, 7 days a week, twice a day. That's the ideal, but it doesn't matter. Next, how long should you meditate in each session? Well, I will give you some parameters here. The ideal is 20 minutes. If you really want to get fanatical, you can go 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour, but you really don't need to. The benefits past 20 minutes are incrementally smaller. So you really don't need a lot more than 20 minutes, unless you're trying to reach some extremely high states. And this is the only thing you're doing in order to get to those states. So realistically, 20 minutes is your ideal amount of time. 10 minutes is beautiful. 5 minutes is great. 2 minutes is fantastic. 1 minute is good. Yes, you get benefit even with 1 minute of doing the technique. So a minimum of 1 minute, and I would say a maximum of 20. And what's the ideal? 20 minutes really is the ideal scene. But don't force yourself to do 20 minutes. Start with 5 minutes, maybe move up to 15 minutes or 10 minutes, and then work your way up to 20, or maybe you'll never get there. It doesn't matter. So that's how much time. Next, where should you meditate? And the answer is anywhere. Jerry Seinfeld said that he would meditate in the back of a cab in New York City. Not a quiet, peaceful place, but that's where he would meditate, because that's where when he had the opportunity to do so. So you can meditate anywhere, whether there's people around, whether there's noise. I mean, think about it. In the old days, people would meditate in the wilderness, and there's noise. They don't have earplugs in. When Krishna was meditating, or Ram, Sri Ram was meditating in India, they were outside. Well, there's birds, and there's things, and there's noise, and there's the river, and there's the waterfall, and there's a lot of noise. So you don't have to be in this, sensory deprivation tank. That's not the case. There can be noise. If you're in your house and the air conditioning unit's going on and off, or maybe in the other room some kids are screaming or whatever, it's okay. So the point is, you can meditate anywhere. Where is the ideal place to meditate? Ideally, it's either you're alone or you're at a center with other people meditating. Those are the two ideal places. So ideally, if you're in your house, you go to a room, shut the door. And it's okay if there's noise, obviously everybody's house is different. It's not going to be, you don't need earplugs, and I don't recommend them. But you can meditate anywhere, ideally. Now, somebody says, well, should I set up a certain meditation place, like with a rug and a pillow and an altar with some candles and incense? You certainly can. This is called a sacred space. And a lot of people set these up. Not required at all, but it's perfectly okay if that's something you're led to do. I never set one of those things up, just so you know. So I meditate anywhere. Now, some people set up a specific place in their house. This is where I'm going to meditate. Here's my little pillow I'm going to sit on, etc. So the point is, you can meditate anywhere. Next, how should you sit when you meditate? The answer is, it doesn't matter. I don't recommend lying down, because if you lie down, there's a good chance you'll fall asleep. Now you're not meditating. You're resting, which is really good, but you're not meditating. So ideally, any comfortable position. Now this is critical, because don't think you have to sit on the floor in some lotus cross-legged position, because guess what? For 99% of you, that's not comfortable. So don't do that. You don't think you have to be a guru. Sit in a chair, probably the most comfortable thing. Does it matter if my legs or ankles are crossed or not? No, just sit like this. I'm pretty comfortable. I can sit here for 20 minutes. So make sure you're in a comfortable position. Sitting in a chair is wonderful. If you want to sit on the floor with your back to the wall, that's fine. If you want to sit on the floor on a pillow, that's fine. But it doesn't matter. You can have your legs straight out. You can cross them. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you're comfortable. Now, ideally, you want your back, your spine, a little bit straight as opposed to this. So that's your ideal, but it doesn't really matter. It's a little bit better if you have a straight spine and you're sitting on your sit bones. So when you sit, I'll give you a little trick. You take your hand and you put it under your butt cheek and you pull. So you pull your butt cheek out on both sides, and then you'll notice you're sitting on your sit bones. And your spine automatically gets straighter. And you're like, that's amazing. It's like magic. When I would teach yoga, I would always say that. Take your hand and do this. Everyone's like, oh my God, I feel so much better. No kidding. Guys would say, my lower back pain went away. Yeah, because that sets you up to sit properly. Okay. But most importantly, get in a comfortable position. Next, what if I'm sitting there and I feel like I have to move, like I have to move my legs or something like that because they're no longer comfortable? I'm sitting here right now. My legs are crossed. My ankles are crossed. What happens if I'm meditating and all of a sudden I want to change the position of my feet, which I just did? Perfectly okay. No problem. Okay. So now we're sitting, and now comes the magic. That's like all the major questions, right? A couple other little questions that come up, by the way. Should I eat before? Ideally, no. You don't want to eat before, but you also don't want to be hungry because then your stomach's going to be going, and you're going to be thinking about food. So ideally, you don't want to eat a big meal right before you meditate, but a couple hours before is fine. Should you drink something? You should always be hydrated. Forget about meditation. You should always be hydrated. That's always going to help. I would stay away from aspirin because that stops your ability to enter into the proper state. It actually keeps you less psychic. So stay away from aspirin. Pharmaceutical drugs are obviously, not good for anything except in rare instances. But don't change any pharmaceuticals that you prescribe without checking with your doctor first, of course. So now you're sitting. How do you meditate? The meditation is very simple. First and foremost, set a timer. If you have a watch with a timer, decide how long you're going to meditate. 5 minutes, set it for 5 minutes. 10 minutes, set it for 10 minutes. If you're going to meditate for 20 minutes, set it for 20 minutes. If you have a little clock, you don't want one that goes, when the time is up. Probably have one with a nice chime or some birds or something, or a little beeping, So set a timer. This way you don't have to wonder about how long you've been meditating. Decide how long you're going to meditate, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever the number is, set your timer. Now you start meditating. How do you meditate? First off, last question that always gets asked, what do I do with my hands? Do I do this? People say do I do this? Some people, the answer is it doesn't matter. These, by the way, are called mudras. So it's the position, and technically they do recirculate energy in a certain way. There's many of them, and they're done for particular reasons. That's advanced. You don't have to worry about that right now. You can put your hands like this, on your thing, palms down. You can put them palms up. You can do that. It doesn't matter. You can put your hands together. You can do this and put your hands together. You can do this where the thumbs are touching. And you can do this, left hand on top, right hand on top. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why you do each one. Thumbs touching, thumbs crossed, fingers together. None of it matters. That's advanced stuff. Don't even worry about it. Just sit comfortable. Here's how you meditate. First, let me define what meditation is, and then I'll give you the technique to meditate. Meditation is simply focusing on a singular point in space. That's all meditation is. It's focusing on a singular point in space. When you do that, all of the benefits that I described happen. Why do those benefits happen? Because when you do this, energy that is contracted within you starts to come to surface. So the analogy is, imagine that this is an ocean, this is the top of the ocean. And at the bottom, there's little bubbles of air trapped. And all of a sudden, you put a little device down there that kind of scrapes the bottom ocean floor and allow these trapped little bits of air to start releasing. So there's a bubble of air that starts coming. And when it gets to the surface, it pops. And it dissipates. It joins the rest of the air and becomes one with the air. These little bubbles are thoughts. They're energetic imprints. In the East, they're called samskaras. They're trapped energy, contracted energy that's vibrating at a very low frequency, not helping you in life. They're actually hindering you in life. So when you meditate, you're releasing these bubbles. And this is how you meditate. First, you can meditate with your eyes open by focusing on a point in space. The most common one is a candle flame. So you could sit in a room looking at a candle flame, or you could look at anything, a singular point, a leaf. I've gone into the woods and looked at a leaf and been into a meditative state instantly. And I know this because in my research, I would put brainwave monitors, all these things on your head. And with the researchers, I would show how fast I could get into theta. This is the state. There's different types of brainwave states, but I can move from beta to alpha to theta, delta. I can move my brainwaves and also activate certain parts of the brain. And this has all been documented in scientific research. When you can control your mind, you have power in your life. You can't control your mind when you have all this samskaras activating, giving you uncontrollable, irrational emotions. So this is one of the reasons why this technique is very effective. And by the way, meditation is not the only way to release these, but it's a very simple, effective way. It doesn't cost you anything. So number one, you're always focusing on something. So you can focus on something with your eyes open. Most common is a candle flame. You could focus on the fire in a fireplace. You could focus on a leaf. You could focus on a tree. You could focus on the river going down if you're sitting by a creek and you're looking at the water or a little waterfall. You could focus on anything. You could focus on a rock. Anything at all you could focus on. Remember, you have to focus on something. And it's one thing, and that's all you focus on for the entire time that you're meditating. Next, you could also focus on a sound. You would do that with your eyes closed. So with your eyes closed, you can focus on a sound. And it could be the sound of the air conditioner, the sound of the fan, the sound of the waterfall. Could be any type of sound. You can focus on that as well. The third thing you can focus on with your eyes closed is your breath. This is the most common technique because it's the simplest and easiest. It's the most commonly used. Focusing on the breath. So with your eyes closed, you focus on the breath. When you breathe, you always breathe in and out through your nose only. And you breathe absolutely normally. You don't do this. And I've seen people do that in meditation. It's like, what the heck are you doing? That's a pranayama technique. That's not a meditation technique. When you're meditating, you're just normal. You're relaxed. So you breathe in and out through your nose. But again, you're not doing this. No, you're just breathing. You're just letting your body breathe as normal. You're not trying to count. You're not trying to breathe anything. You're just allowing your body to breathe. It knows how to breathe. So you sit and you focus on the breath. Where do you put your attention? You can put your attention at the nostril. So as you're inhaling, your attention is here. And as you exhale, the attention is here. That's one place of focus. The next focus is here. So as you inhale, your focus or attention is here. So you're focusing on the breath, but your attention is here. The next place you can focus is 2 inches below your belly button. So when you inhale, the stomach goes out slightly, and on the exhale, it comes in slightly. Those are the 3 basic areas of focus if you're going to use the breath. The last general technique of focus, because remember, the first thing you do when you meditate, after you're in a comfortable position and you're in your place, is to decide what you're going to focus on. So it's either something external that you see, a sound with your eyes closed, a breath, or the fourth one, which is the second most popular, is what's called a mantra. This is a sound that you repeat in your head silently. A mantra should not be something that makes sense to you. So it shouldn't be a phrase. So a mantra should not be like, I'm a winner, I'm a winner, I'm a winner. No, that's a phrase. That'll keep you thinking. You want a sound that is completely nonsensical. The most common sound of a mantra that is repeated in meditation is the sound Om. Now, it's either pronounced A-U-M, Om, or O-M, Om. Depends on what region of the world that you're in. This is called the primordial sound, and it is in ancient texts talked about the first sound or the word in the Christian and Jewish Bibles. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. It's a sound. It's the first sound, first primordial sound. And when you start going into elevated states and you cross the veil, that's the sound that you hear. That's the sound that permeates your entire being like you've never experienced before. So we know it's the primordial sound, and then right after that, when you're in the stillness and the oneness, there is no sound. It is complete static, and it is absolute bliss beyond human comprehension, and it is ineffable. But right before you hit that, you're completely encapsulated or enveloped in this sound, and it feels as a vibration that's permeating right down into your bones and into your soul. So a common mantra is Om or Aum, Om, Aum. You don't say it out loud, you just say it here. Any mantra, Sharim, is one used in transcendental meditation. There's 5 basic mantras in transcendental meditation. And there's other mantras. Om Namah Shivaya is used in Siddha Yoga. There are other ones as well. These are nonsensical sounds. Ideally, it's 2 syllables. Sharim, Aum. Those are 2 syllables. So ideally, it's a 2-syllable sound. You choose which one. If I had a recommendation for you, I would say the breath. Choose the breath and then choose where you're going to be focusing your attention. Once you make that choice, I would suggest you stay with that for as long as you want, at least several months before you try to change it. That's going to be helpful to you. So my suggestion would be pick closing your eyes and the breath and just decide whether you're going to focus here, here, or 2 inches below the belly button. That's my suggestion. You can pick whatever focal point you want. And once you pick one, I wouldn't change it. And some people are like, today I'm going to look at a flame, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the Om, and then the next day I'm going to breathe and put my attention on my 2 inches below my navel. Then I'm going to look at a leaf. Okay. It's better to pick one and kind of stay with it. So now you've chosen your focal point. So in this example, I'm going to use the breath, and I'm going to put my attention here in this example. So here's now how you meditate. It's really, 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 really easy because you don't have to do anything. You keep your face relaxed and you close your eyes and you're comfortable. And now all I'm doing is I'm focusing in my particular example here on my breath. Now, as you do this, at some point, you're going to realize you're no longer focusing here. You're going to realize at some point you're thinking thoughts. What am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? I got to make that phone call. You're going to be thinking something. Does this really work? Am I wasting my time? At some point, you're going to have awareness that you have thoughts. When that happens, and it should happen, and it will happen, do not be critical or upset with yourself or angry or frustrated. It's supposed to happen. You're supposed to have thoughts come up. Those are the bubbles that are coming up from the bottom of the ocean, getting ready to be transmuted and join into the oneness. People think meditation is to be still and eliminate all thoughts. That's not the objective. The objective is to do the technique and let it do its work. Let it do its magic. So you sit, and I'm focusing here on my breath. It inhales, and it exhales. And at some point, it could be within seconds, could be within minutes, you don't know. I realize I'm having thoughts. You keep your face relaxed. There's no criticism, judgment, condemnation, or evaluation. All you do is you are aware that you're having thoughts. And when you are aware that you're having thoughts, in a complete state of neutrality, go back to focusing on the breath. And then at some point, it could be a few seconds later, or a minute, or 2 minutes, you're going to realize that you're having thoughts. And you may not even know how long you've been thinking thoughts, but you're going to realize you're having thoughts at some point. When you realize you're having thoughts, that is what's supposed to happen, that's what should happen, and that's what will happen. All you do is, in a state of neutrality, go back to focusing on the breath. And at some point, you're going to realize you're having thoughts. And when you realize you're having thoughts, you simply go back in a state of calm, peace, neutrality, and go back to focusing on the breath. And at some point, you're going to realize you're thinking thoughts. Keep your eyes closed. And at that point, in a complete state of neutrality, you simply go back to focusing on the breath. That's the drill. That's the process. That's the technique. And then at some point, your little alarm is going to go off. And when your alarm goes off, open up your eyes. Now, clearly, there's one place you should not meditate, and that is while you're driving. Because you have your eyes closed. Some people will get that one on the way home. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this with everyone you know. I'm Kevin Trudeau. Looking forward to seeing you Wednesday, 1 o'clock, Chicago time.